Hold, stretch out to her heart,
right?
Makes her feel like she blessed from above.
Yeah.
Falls asleep underneath a sweet tea.
A sweet lullaby.
A lullaby fades away with its fade. Yeah. Aisha, passing me by.
New York side, come on.
Aisha, my. Need somebody to lean on. Someone body, mind and soul. Body, mind and soul. Take her hand, take a whirl,
and
show her the time of her life. So true. Throw the pain away for good. No more contemplating you.
No more contemplating.
No more contemplating.
New York City, put your peace signs up in the air.
Lord knows the way she feels.
'Cause this is what we need.
'Cause every day is name she begins.
2 fingers
to have a shot here by my side.
Nothing else.
I sacrifice on them tears in my
If you can't help us sing it, come on.
Aisha, écoutez moi. Aisha, passing me by. The sweetest thing. Aisha, my. Not even know it. Aisha, what am I to do? What am I to do? Aisha, in my life.
Let's hear him.
Hey, yo, it's outlandish right here in New York City. Let me hear you say Aisha. Say Aisha. Say Aisha. Say Aisha. Say Aisha. Say Aisha.
Thank you very much. We could go on and on, but there's more people to come on stage. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thanks for coming down to support a good cause. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Outlandish, ladies and gentlemen, Outlandish. Give it up. Tear it up for Outlandish. Outlandish, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Thank you.
A few weeks after 9/11, when the conflict broke out in the Pakistan-Afghanistan area, I got a call from a friend from the US, and he said that he wanted to come in to make a difference, a positive difference, amidst all the violence and the conflict. Against my advice that the situation is very volatile, he showed up a few days later. I took him around to a few of the refugee camps where he supported some of the health and the education programs for the children. That wasn't enough, and he wanted to go to the Afghan-Pakistan border where actually the bombs were falling. I absolutely refused to accompany him. He still went, and despite the dangers, he survived and he came back. And since then, he's come back to Pakistan over a dozen times. In 2005 earthquake, where over nearly 80,000 people died, he showed up with his family and stayed in tents in sub-freezing temperatures and gave essential items, blankets, to the survivors. Eventually, he ended up funding a teachers training institute in the area. Over the years, I've called him a half Pakistani, but now I look back, I think he's a full human being who sees beyond caste, creed, nationality to make a difference in the world through his resources, his high intellect, and above all, his ground presence. And with his pictures, he reveals the spirit of compassion and hope through the eyes of children in the worst of conflict areas. In the YPO, the Young Presidents Organization, we co-founded the Peace Action Network that helped build bridges of understanding in conflict areas amongst business leaders. And it has been my privilege to have known him and an honor to have worked with him. I would like all of you to join me in welcoming Bobby Seger.
Before I start, I may never have another opportunity to speak in this hall, and my mother and father and my wonderful wife are sitting down in the front here. And I'd like you to stand, please. Before I start to talk about Pakistan, it's pretty hard to not think about the fact that today's September 12th, which obviously means that yesterday was September 11th. And I wanted to just take a moment of silence, just a few seconds, for the people that died here on September 11th, victims ultimately of religious intolerance, people who wanted to have their own way. And if we could just, as brothers and sisters, if we could just take a moment to remember them. Thank you. So our brothers and sisters in Pakistan are under attack, dislocated, persecuted, being told that people who are different than them or that pray different than them are evil. It's not enough for us tonight to disapprove of what's happening there. They need our support. So often when I tell my friends I'm going back to Pakistan, maybe not my friends, maybe people that don't know me as well, I say, why? What is it about Pakistan? This is remembering after September 11th and seeing the street scenes of, people celebrating September 11th and in some cases celebrating Osama bin Laden. Why do you go there? They hate us. And my response is, who's they? Pakistan's a country of 170 million people. Pakistan's bigger than Great Britain and Germany put together, far bigger. Yes, there's people in Pakistan that hate us, but the great majority of the people in Pakistan want exactly what we want. They want a better life for their children. They want to have choices. They just want to breathe. And so often, it gets screwed up because of all of the distorting filters on both sides. The distorting filters of religious and political leaders on both sides being in Pakistan and here. The distorting filters of the media. The distorting filters of just our own biases and prejudices and, in some cases, self-interest. I wanted to read something, a letter that I wrote, not a whole letter, but a couple of lines, that I wrote right after September 11th. In fact, it was when I was in Pakistan. Amin mentioned that I was there right afterwards. I wrote this note from Peshawar in the hopes of tearing away some of those distorting filters. So I wrote, I realize that war is hell and that innocent people will inevitably be affected, but being in the middle of the misery made me realize just how far-ranging the victims of September 11th really are. Post-September 11th is certainly about our safety, but it's also very much about our soul. How do we encounter and engage evil without losing a little bit of our own humanity? Yes, I've seen intense, even menacing street demonstrations, but is the relevant story that thousands of people are demonstrating and maybe even burning some American flags? Or is it that in a city of millions, Karachi, that only 1 out of 1,000 is participating? The scintillating picture for TV is the mob scene, but the informed perspective is the statistic. Far from the image of strident supporters of international terrorism, I have seen and experienced friendship in Pakistan that is more considerate, genuine, and passionate than virtually any that I have experienced anywhere in the world. I'm sure there are mean-spirited, even evil people in Pakistan, but my guess is that the percentage is no higher and very possibly lower than in the United States. So much truth gets lost through broad generalizations and bias. So what are we going to do about these filters? Again, it's not enough to just disapprove. How do we tear them away? How do we understand one another as human beings so it's not those people, it's not us and them, it's all of us together? There's no magic wand. I can't just go like this and make it all happen. We all have to take our own actions, what I refer to as concrete baby steps. What do I mean by concrete baby steps? We can inform ourselves. What does the Quran say about women's rights? What does the Quran say about jihad? Are we going to leave the interpretation to Fox News? Are we going to leave the interpretation to extreme religious leaders? I hope not. Let's fight prejudice with open-mindedness and benefit of the doubt. Fight ignorance with knowledge. Let's get smarter, better informed. We can't let political and religious leaders tell us who we should like and why we should like them. For God's sakes, the planet is melting. We have to be able to get this other stuff straight. We have a common path to take. One of the things that I thought would be helpful tonight in tearing away filters is having a look at some of the photographs that Amin was referring to. These are photographs that I've taken of children. These children they live in refugee camps. They live in alleyways. They live in remote villages. They're some of the most anonymous humans in the world. And yet tonight, they're here in the General Assembly Hall of the United Nations. The idea of these photographs is that when you look into their eyes, you see possibilities, you see strength, and you see hope. Not in all of them, but in many of them. And hope isn't just nice. Hope is a game changer. Hope is something that people need, the fuel that they need to move forward. A light, no matter how small, at the end of the tunnel to follow. So the photographs that you'll see right now are applied to a song called Invisible Sun. Invisible Sun is about hope and the power of hope. And it was written by my great friend Sting and performed by the Police. These are the kids of Pakistan and of the Afghan refugee camps.